Yes.
Okay.
It's very nice.
We're recording.
Okay. Okay, hi.
Okay. So you're feeling better. You're feeling better in how you're interacting with people. You're no longer participating in weird codependent drama as the rescuer. You're also removing your victim positionality. That's starting to diminish. Like anything that keeps you from being a victim, you'll notice is the best.
Yeah.
Just adapt, accept and adapt as best you can.
And I just am feeling more like my emotions aren't, are getting a little less extreme, and they're not just running away with me.
Yeah, you're not yeah, I know what you just said. You're not being pulled around with all these emotions. Like swept. Just run by them. Yeah.
It feels good because there was just so many years where I was just like, I can't help it, or I wouldn't be able to. I would just shoot, send someone out a text or bitch someone out, or
not really questioning like, your interpretation of it. You never. That's the thing is you never questioned it.
Bitch. Like I would be in shock when anybody thought I was a bitch. On top of it, I would be like, "What? I'm not a bitch. Sorry if the truth hurts, man."
I'm actually really loving as I tell you how shitty you are.
Yeah, I care about you so much. I just feel like you can handle me telling you,
But you're doing it the wrong way.
So that's just, and then I would, so that just feels amazing. And then, so all the weekend and all that stuff. And then, accepting telling myself the truth, the two big things from our last session, where it's facing the truth about the past and glorifying it, which I have done. It feels good. And then accepting my current weight, and accepting it's permanent and that I will never lose weight. And then all the ways I was trying to kind of wiggle around that and hoping that recovery was going to lead to me losing weight and all that shit. That's been, it's been hard. I've been giving it up. I've been facing that, and I feel like it's a little bit more each day. I just give it up and face it.
Mm-hmm. Does it feel like the body you're in isn't as bad as you made it out to be? This is totally, this really isn't that big of a deal.
Well, I'm feeling, yes, because I'm feeling like, I don't know, and I've been trying to be honest with myself. I'm feeling like there's like that let's see how I'm going to word this, and you can tell me if I'm, whatever.
Just be truthful and I'll give you the feedback.
Yeah, I'm feeling like I don't have to it's not necessarily a position of helplessness. Like, oh, my body is just so big and fat, I'm so miserable. It's like, like we've talked about it before, that there are there's things I could do to support my body, like go to yoga, and it needs to be stretched and needs to be moved.
You got it.
Needs to be, like there's things that, okay, body, you're at this weight, but that doesn't mean I have to just lay around and, accept my big, like I can still be joyful in this body and support it by moving it and strengthening it, which will only help my ankle and which will help everything. And
well, and do you have to be thin to do those things, or can you do them now?
Don't. And so, I do that little, I'll hear like, and if you do that, maybe and I'll just go, okay, just like, there's a possibility that if I start, wanting to move my body and support and exercise, you might lose weight that way. And
but do you want to focus on that? Do you want that to even be what you think about?
No, I don't.
So you get to where you don't care. You're like, if that happens, great. If it doesn't, great. I don't care.
Because I've sort of been in this position where, I haven't been exercising much, or I'll only do it when I feel it's totally pure, like that I'm really doing it. Like if I even have anything in me where I'm going, you should, because then you'll maybe you'll lose weight. I'll just go, okay, fine, I'm not going then. I'm just gonna sit here then and do nothing.
Not gonna feed it.
Exercise to placate you.
Yep, I would agree with that, and I suggest everybody do that. Again, taking a sabbatical from that attitude isn't going to cause life and death.
Yeah.
Even if you take an entire month or even a year to do nothing, for people who go, I know I'm attaching weight loss to it, don't feed it. When you want to do it, whether you're thin or fat or anything in between, it's something that you would do that has nothing to do with your size and looks and how people perceive them, then it's healthy. Then you're doing it for an more intrinsic reason, or at least a closer extrinsic reason, like brushing your teeth. I would brush my teeth whether I was thin or fat. I would wash my hands and face whether I was thinner or fatter. I would do yoga whether I was thinner or fatter. I would go on walks because I love nature, whether I'm thinner or fatter. I would go to the beach and sit in the sun, whether I was thinner or fatter. Right? Those are things that I enjoy and want to do with my life, no matter what the body looks like, whether I was in a wheelchair, whether I was blind, whether all those things I would do. So go into that. Like, would you want to go and do some strength training if you were wheelchair bound?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yes.
Yoga, of course.
And yeah, and I guess it's just a matter of if there's just the time, if there's that, I don't know, I guess maybe there's like that balance that happens or something where it's fine if I'm like 90% doing something for joy or 95% and there's a teeniest little bit in my head going, oh goody, maybe you'll lose weight, and I just kind of go, okay, you can, does it have to be 100%?
No, you just have to laugh at that. Laugh
at that little
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
That's funny.
Yeah, because I don't, if I even think about that or hope for that, that's what it's about.
Yeah, like, I just love Runyon. I live right near Runyon Park, which is climbing this mountain and all, a bunch of dogs off leash and people in the sky and the view of Hollywood. It's one of my favorite things to do. And, and it's hard as fuck. It's super high, like a hill. Like it's very hard physically getting this body up that mountain, but I love it and I don't care. And it feels good to be like, feeling everything moving and straining, and I love the feeling of even being sore afterwards. Like, oh, it feels so good. Like, so that's definitely something, and then I have this great membership at the Y that has all these classes, yoga and spin. I've loved spin in the past, which yes, I lost weight doing it, but it was just good for my heart and my soul and the music, and I love the instructor, and I laugh the whole time, and it feels good to sweat. And
so the goal would be that you go blind. You go blind.
Yeah.
Not literally, but you go to where you're like, if I was blind, I wouldn't care. I don't care. It doesn't serve me in any way emotionally to lose weight. It's what serves me is feeling good in my body, to enjoy my body. That's really what you're doing, and you can enjoy the body whether you're at this weight or at a thinner weight. It doesn't matter. So essentially, you want to diminish even that 10% into, I don't even want 10% of my life being about my weight. I don't want 10% of my life about my weight.
I guess.
So you get to where you don't even want to have a hope. What'll happen is that 10% becomes 100%.
Yeah.
Because you're holding out hope. It's like, I just want to keep it there. I'm keeping the hope there. And when you keep it there, what's going to happen? You're going to have that monitoring. You're going to want to monitor. You're going to have a hope. You're gambling basically with a hope.
Yeah.
There's a difference between I'm willing to gamble whether I lose or not. Right?
Yeah. I mean, and it just makes sense too. Like back to, my heavy body carrying this weight around, which I guess, I don't know, I don't have to just do it like in a victim way. I can just be like cheerfully, okay, this is it. This is how things ended up. And I can certainly build up strength in this body. You build up strength, then it won't and stretch and move my back around and help carry the load. Like, I want to support my body. Like,
what you're talking about is what happens when you accept it. Okay, so you go into acceptance as if there's no alternative. I have to accept this. Like, I've lost my legs in a horrible accident. Okay. I would still want to go work out. I'd go in there in my wheelchair. Someone could help me get on the floor. I'll do all the stuff on the floor. I can still do floor poses. I can still do a lot of things. And I would still want that to be a part of my life. I would go in the weight room and do all the upper body work and try to improve my back strength. Right? So
exactly. And just also to feel connected to my body, like feel it.
Correct.
And not just feel like, oh, it's so heavy, but to just feel
alive. You enjoy what you have, right? So what you're doing is you're adapting to it. You're actually getting to a place where you're like, I can work with this. This is totally workable. Do you really want the body to be such a huge focus in your life?
No.
But it should be, like I do yoga. I did yoga yesterday.
I feel like there's a level of healthy focus that I've never, ever had.
Okay, so let's take that out because there's an idea of what you think is healthy. I can't even determine what's healthy. I always put quotes with my finger quotes around when I say healthy, okay?
Yeah.
Because the body you have is totally healthy.
Yeah, it is healthy. I guess
totally,
in a
completely healthy.
Balanced way, a psychologically balanced way.
It's just, it is what it is, and it's functioning the way it should because of millennia of evolution prior to this body. Okay, so what we're aware of is nowhere close to the millennia that evolution is aware of, that the body is inherently promoting. Okay, you can just accept that the body has responded appropriately based on what has happened. Mm-hmm. So with that said, if this is permanent, because I'm not going to change it. I'm done making it my job. It's not my job to change it. Then the activity that I do is going to be because I enjoy it. I don't want the activity to be based on how to fix it, right? Because you have to believe inherently that it can fix itself. They're outside. So
can it be a little bit of that I enjoy it and I want to support it?
Well, if you know what supporting it is, do you know what support it needs? I mean, so for example, the yoga that I am doing, I didn't really understand or believe that it would do anything. I just did it thinking something's got to change. So I'm going to do this, and if it works, freaking miracle. If it doesn't, I'm open to surgery. I'm open, but I'm not going to complain, feel bad about it, think it needs to be. It is what it is. So I will work with it. Working with it. Okay?
With it, yeah, okay.
That's different than I'm going to make it better.
It needs something from me or that I...
Yeah, like you have to do something to fix it. That's your problem.
Yeah. Working with it, I like that.
Yeah, the whole idea that you have what it takes to make it better that's the problem.
You know, and then I don't know if then I was also thinking, I don't know if this is just thoughts like, I hardly drink any water. I'm so bad with water. Like, do I really wait till I'm thirsty? Or can I just, I know that when I drink more water, you know, it lubes up your joints. Maybe that will also help with some aches and pains. Should I say to myself, I'm going to work with my body today and try to drink 4 glasses of water?
No, that's dieting. You're dieting.
Okay.
You wait till you're thirsty.
Okay.
That's actually how you do it. When you're thirsty, you should drink water. And it's really easy. It doesn't take thought. It doesn't take work. When you have to go to the bathroom, you feel that sense of urination, you should go urinate. When it's really tired, go to sleep. When you feel energized, go do something to express the energy. You're still coming at it from, it's not good enough. It needs to be fixed. It's not good enough. It needs to be fixed. There's a downside to that. Okay? You're still spending your time managing things. How much time do you want to allocate to managing it? I think that's really the key here in terms of balance. How much time do you want to devote to doing activity and then expecting an outcome? That's gambling. You're gambling.
Yeah.
So focus on, instead of drinking Diet Coke, maybe I should have water. And,
yeah.
you
So
know.
I do that. Actually, I'll be at work and there'll be a Diet Coke and there'll be water, and I'll say,
yeah.
Just drink water.
But you know what? If you want a Diet Coke, have a Diet Coke. There's a balance in living your life and enjoying your life, and making an easy choice. If it comes down to, for example, having a hot chocolate or hot tea, what sounds better? What do you really want? What's physically going to feel better? But know that you can always have hot chocolate. You don't always have to have tea. This is not one way or the highway. It feels good when I do yoga. Then you should do yoga because it inherently feels good as you do it. Do we really need... So for me, again, with my back issues, I have always enjoyed yoga. So I was like, maybe I need to add that. That might promote an environment to allow my hips to stop having this nerve pain on the side. Now I'm getting nerve pain in the shoulder. I'm going to take my knowledge and what I learned in college with my degree, and I'm going to just open myself up to this as a last resort before surgery. Okay?
Yeah, like that, promote an environment that's...
allows the body to heal itself. Do you need to be the healer of the body? Are you going to be the rescuer?
No, God,
yeah, because you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Oh, hell no.
So do you really, the thing about the water thing, do we really need to micromanage everything? And what does that tell you about how you feel about the body? I need 4 cups a day.
That it's not necessarily that it won't tell me. But I mean, it's true. Sometimes you don't notice thirst. And then it'll just be all dry. And then it's where if you go, oh shit, I didn't really drink any water today. And then I chug a bunch of water. Or I'll get a headache sometimes.
Yeah.
Not drinking.
Right? Is there something wrong with that?
No, but it's just I'm just trying to figure out, do I try to be more conscious and try to drink a little more water, right? Instead of just coffee in the morning and maybe some iced tea and a Diet Coke, and at the end of the day go, Jesus, I drank 1 glass of water today.
You know what would be really good is if you went back to the diet industry, because they'll tell you exactly what you should do, how much water you should drink and when, and that they would be like, of course that's what you need to do, because you haven't done enough of that in your lifetime.
Yeah, that's cool. I get that.
I mean, how much more time do you want to spend fixating on your body?
I don't. I guess I'm trying to set up my what's my new life look like?
Okay.
I was even noticing God, I sure eat a lot of Amy's frozen dinners. I wonder if I should try to bake tofu at the beginning of the week, which I love. I love tofu and brown rice and vegetables. Should I try not to eat so much processed food? Should I promote an environment? Should I just put in a little more thought, or do I just, I'm single, I'm always rushing around and grabbing an Amy's frozen burrito, or grabbing, do I just try to put any more conscious thought into it, or do I just...
Well, it shouldn't take conscious thought if you actually enjoy the food that you're saying sounds good to you.
Which I absolutely do. I love that. I'm a vegetarian. I love it. It's just I don't ever carve out the time to make it. I'll always come home from work busy and tired and throwing another frozen dinner, which is fine. But sometimes I'm like, God, my body. I feel like fresh food sounds so much delicious.
Okay, then that's a sign right there. That's what you should do. Should it be a should do, or is it then do that?
Okay.
You have to ask why you're not doing that.
Yeah.
Because that's what's natural. You're just saying, should I do what's natural, Robin? Or should I just, you're talking about this as if you want to go on a diet. And that's not what I would recommend. What I would recommend is if that food sounds good to you, that's what you should be doing. You have to question, why aren't I selecting foods that really sound good to me?
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Amy's too, and that'll always be...
Okay, so acknowledge why you're not diversifying your food. Why? You can sit here and say, well, I should do this, like you're talking to yourself like a like a nun with her finger, a diet nun. You should be doing this. You can do that to yourself like you have done your whole life. Or you can question, that other food sounds really good to me. Why am I not taking the time to fix it?
Yeah.
Maybe you need to think more in that direction.
Yeah.
Rather than just guilting yourself.
Or I just want to, I kind of feel, I don't know, I sort of got myself into this position. Like, what could I do to be nice to my body now that is there anything, what can I do if it's, like, not fucked up? So these are just the things that I wanted to ask you about.
Well, you're gravitating back to dieting, which is understandable, because you feel bad about your weight.
I don't.
You're wanting to control things because you're not happy with your body. I mean, again,
I'm wanting to help it. If I'm I am. There is acceptance happening. I'm just trying. It's like a new land. I don't know what.
So get rid of the whole idea that your body needs you to help it, because it doesn't. Go into what would be intrinsic, a relationship you want with food. That has nothing to do with fixing your body, because everything you've described is fixing it, making it better, promoting. You're trying to use my words to make it sound better, and you clearly aren't getting that. You need to go into the truth of what your life would be like with food if there was nothing to fix. Nothing to fix. What's the truth of how you want to relate to food if there was nothing to fix? Get the fixing it out of your mind.
Yeah. No, I can see that.
You want to know what my answer was for me? I don't want to think about it. I do want to enjoy food. I want to have food that I enjoy in my life. If it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with real bread, I don't want to have to feel bad about that. I don't want to feel bad about a cheeseburger anymore. I want to have a bowl of cereal. I also want to have fresh vegetables, and I don't want to think that I'm glamorizing myself because of it. I just want to enjoy it all, and I don't want anything to do with any of it. I don't want to magnify it as important or special, and I don't want to diminish it as bad. I don't want any of it. Just want to enjoy food, and I'll enjoy it when I'm hungry. I want to make sure I eat sufficiently so I'm not starving myself. I don't want to feel like I have to clean up damages after the fact. So it's a balance between feeding the love of food and the reality of your life and not cleaning up damages from overdoing it. It's a balance, right?
Yeah.
But, you're still positioned as if you have to fix something. And that's what you're not hearing. I'm hearing it. You're definitely positioning yourself as if I have to promote a healthier environment. Well, you really don't. You just have to stop doing what you've been doing. In terms of justifying eating that when you're not hungry, feeling shame about what you're not doing. I mean, you're in your mind. What I'm hearing is, I feel guilty. I'm not doing what I should do. That's dieting. Who told you what you should do? Who told you have to drink 4 cups? I
believe it. I believe it's 8.
I know, but you said 4, so I'm using your words.
But I was saying 4. I was like, I don't need to go 8 drastic. I just, maybe 4 is fine.
Maybe 4. You don't need to monitor any of it. Drink more water. Why do you got to monitor it?
Yeah.
Well, the monitoring comes from the fact you're trying to fix your weight or your body or your ailments, trying to be healthier, which is another brainwashed concept, right? Just believe your body is healthy and just look at the environment that you are creating and be realistic about what you can change and what you can't. So when it comes to like eating all Amy's burritos that are frozen, honestly, if it sounds good to you, go get fresh food. Why aren't you going to get fresh food? That's what I'm questioning. Why haven't you been doing that?
I do have veggies. I do. I love broccoli and squash and bell pepper. I love sauteing them and throw them over some ramen noodles.
I answer my question. Why haven't you been doing that? Why haven't you been having your soy? Your whatever that is called.
I've just been like lazy, like wanting to, not having the time to turn the oven on.
Okay, so is the fact that you're really busy not something that you need to think about.
Is what?
You're busy. When you're busy,
yeah,
it's kind of hard to have all that prepped and to get it all done.
Yeah.
Is there not any? You know what I do when I'm busy? I go to Sonic. I get tater tots. And you know what I really like is their chili and cheese. It's like queso on top. I like to add onions.
Yum.
Okay? Do I eat that way all the time? Of course not. But you know, if I'm busy, I got to be realistic. Freaking, chili cheese tater tot sounds really good when I'm busy and I don't have time.
Yeah.
Other times I'll call Madhuban and I go get Indian food. And I show up at home and go, I made Indian food. Here it is in the bag. Other days I go get sushi. Because I don't have time. So you need to be realistic with yourself and adjustable. When you do have time, get excited. Oh my God, I have time. I can go to my favorite Indian food, or I can go get this and I can do a fresh dinner.
Yeah.
And that's what I do too. Sometimes I'll actually have time and I fix dinner. To me, it's all the same. It's all the same.
Yeah. I mean, I feel pretty good about doing with what I like. Some days I'll feel like, oh, I've just eaten a lot of, I feel like just eating a lot of solid things. I feel like I want something cold and crispy. I'll just make a yummy salad.
So here's the difference is when I feel that way, that's what I get. I'm questioning why you're not doing that. I need you to go there. Why aren't you doing that?
Well, no, I do. Like, if I crave, I always have, like, lettuce and... I mean, I feel pretty good about what I eat, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
I feel like I'm pretty well-rounded.
Okay, so when...
I follow what I crave. But I guess I was just like, should I just be doing better? Am I eating too much processed shit? Like, maybe
Again,
whatever.
How are you coming to two...
Because like I said, I'm slowly accepting this reality. I feel like I'm all the way there. No, I was still, I've texted, I was kind of vulnerable when I saw this complete heinous picture of myself. And for like,
Is it really heinous? Is it really heinous?
No, it really was heinous. You would even go, ooh, girl. I feel like it was just the worst possible angle.
Well, heinous is, you know what I would call heinous?
Judgment of myself?
No, I mean, really, what equates to heinous?
Well, no, it was just...
You're catastrophizing the situation. Who cares? Do you know how many times... Okay, so I just recorded a video the other day where I literally just woke up, and you can probably smell my morning breath across the computer, okay?
I just realized it wasn't just... that I have to accept. Like, I accepted that I'm not in the cool and sexy club. That was like, okay, that took me a while. Like, okay, I'm no longer like a hot piece. I'm just like a big girl living her life. Okay, I was like, okay. And then when I saw that picture, I was like, oh, I also have to accept, that in like actually being unattractive, like that and some people thinking that, or me looking and just going, oh, like, I don't know, it was just...
You have to ask if you really care. If you really care. Do you really want to care?
It was just a setback. It was like a day-long kind of like...
I don't think that's a setback at all. I think that's a reality check.
Okay.
So stop thinking that you're better than you are and then going, oh, that's the truth of where you're at. Okay? That's the truth of where you're at. And here's something I want you to... everything I'm saying to you right now is to help you see it clearer. Everything. Okay?
Yeah.
As you get clarity, you're going to start seeing the path to go.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I don't want to be in the pretty, sexy club, even if I could. That is not okay. That comes with suffering. I'm not willing to suffer for that superficial shit ever again. Once you get rid of that, what happens to your perception of heinous?
My perception of heinous, I guess I would, well, obviously seeing a picture like that with me with this, the way that I looked in that picture, I would just sort of, I wouldn't care.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
I would just be like,
yeah.
I would laugh and go, God, they sure caught me in an awkward angle and laugh.
It would be meaningless. You'd laugh at it, and it would be meaningless. Because there is no emotion attached to beauty and sex. Yeah, it's meaningless. It has no legs.
Yeah. Well,
right. So where you're stuck is, yes, you're accepting you're no longer a part of the thin and sexy club, but you still want it. There's like an envy to it.
I was gonna be, but I could just actually like be in that. Like I looked like Ursula of Underground. Like I was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Like, and I mean, it was
so when you say that, you're superimposing a judgment, right?
Yeah, there's still
judgment. That judgment comes from the thin and sexy ideology. So that's why I'm trying to get you to see. You're accepting you're not a part of that club anymore, but you sure do want to be a part of that club. So
or I feel like I'm walking away, but like looking over my shoulder.
Oh, I'm gonna miss it. Oh, but what I would do to get back into the popular crowd. I would do anything to get back there.
It's just fucking strange, Like for 30 years, it's just weird.
Yeah, it's like getting divorced.
It's like I've been like kind of enjoyed being pretty, like whatever, but then that's dead, but there is such a price to it, and so much suffering to it, and still so much shit. Like I get all that, like it's just gone.
If you could be thin and pretty again, this is where you need to be honest with yourself. If you could be in that group, would you take it?
God.
Knowing what you know now, so add that to it.
If I could be, knowing what I know now, I don't want to say yes, like, yeah, I want to be in the club.
Yeah, but you need just say what your emotions are telling you. I don't care what your answer is. In fact, I'm expecting you to say, of course. That's what you're feeling inside. That's what needs to come out. That's what I need to talk to. Right? You need to get that out. That's when last session, I was like, tell the fucking truth. That's where progress is going to get made. So if presented to you, thin and sexy, and validation from people in it, they'll like you.
No, I don't want that. I don't.
See how crisp and clear that answer came to you? Like, no, yeah. I don't want it. That right there. You rejected that. You just rejected it.
Yeah.
I don't want it. Even if I could. I don't want to be liked for that reason. I don't want to be associated with that shit. I don't want to participate. I don't want to be a part of that crowd, even if I could.
I don't need the exhaustion.
Even if I could be the most beautiful person on the planet, I would ignore that.
No, I don't want that.
Okay, now do you feel the difference?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't want that, then why
would I let a picture upset me?
Correct. The wanting of it means that it has power and it means something positive. Superimposed positivity, right? The symbolism of it. If you didn't believe,
if you were to ask me, if I could choose a year from now being free and in recovery and being 30 pounds lighter, would I choose that? Yeah, I would. Oh, cool. I can have it all.
So positive. So hold on a second. So what brought you to say in 30 pounds lighter isn't the 30 pounds. It's the symbolism you've attached to it. It's the fantasy you've attached to it. Because if it's important to you and you want that, what happens to the recovery side of what you just said?
Well, I'll be in trouble.
You won't be recovered, so you can't have both. Because you want it and you're getting off on it. So it's like, yeah, well, that's a fantasy what you just said, because even if you were 30 pounds less, the wanting of it, the yearning of it, and the actual like thinking that it's positive actually removes recovery. Because now you got to think about it, focus on it. It's now your life, and that's all you're going to focus on. Because I've had 4 glasses of water a day.
That's impossible. I feel like that's not going to happen, and it's none of my business.
If you don't care, okay, if you don't see it as a benefit or a roadblock, right? Because your capacity is capable of worse than this. The problem is you don't think you're capable of what you have right now. Right? So if your capacity is so much bigger and can handle far worse than this, then being 30 pounds less becomes irrelevant. It's like, well, yeah, cool beans, it's easy. Okay. What's it really going to do? You know, if you hold this perception, even in 30 pounds, you're still not going to appreciate what you're at, where you're at. You're still going to think that you've got ailments.
Well, I mean, there's no denying getting this body around physically is it's a small challenge considering other things in life.
I get that, but to you it's challenging. Can you handle it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Permanently, forever.
Yes.
Is it a big deal? So the thing is, if it's really not that big of a deal, why would you even yearn for 30 pounds less? It should be irrelevant if you can actually handle what you have.
It would make a difference as far as lugging myself up out of bed, lugging myself, like it would make a physical difference, but I accept it's not going to come, and that, I accept that I can have a full, rich, happy life in this body as it is, or heavier.
Okay, so if you lose 30 pounds, really, is it going to change very much? 30 pounds ago, you didn't appreciate it.
I don't know.
So do you get where it's like you're still believing some weird fantasy? If you can't adapt to this, what makes you think you're going to know how to adapt to that?
I'm adapting. I am adapting. This is where the shitstorm ended. This is where I ended. I washed on this shore. It's over. And this is what I'm left with, and I can handle it.
You kind of have to.
The what?
You kind of have to.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's just slow. I wish I was like a faster recoverer.
It'll happen when it happens. The recovery happens like a snap. It just literally snaps.
I know. I wish that snap sounds incredible.
I haven't had the snap. Not yet. I can tell. You're still in denial. You're still in denial, and that's okay.
Isn't it? I mean, I feel like I'm in the clouds, or I'm coming out of denial. That's for damn sure.
Good.
I'm coming out of denial.
But you still have a bunch of blocks. You still have certain clouds you don't want to remove. Such as the hope that you can be thinner. You're still hoping. You're still hoping.
I was just saying that if you were to say to me, if I had a magic wand and could tell you that would happen, but then again, I guess that would fuck with my recovery, even knowing that was a possibility.
Yes, you have to get to where, whether it's a possibility or not, I don't care. I don't fucking care.
I'm getting there. I'm better than I was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm definitely.
So there's going to be a moment where you go, I don't care. And that's the snap. And you're going to go, oh my God, it was that? That was it? Why didn't I do that years ago? Well, because you needed to suffer as long as you're about to suffer to get to that point of full permanent detachment from the outcome of the body. And you aren't going to feel sorry for yourself in any way. You'll be like, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Whether I'm in a wheelchair, it doesn't matter. Whether I'm blind, it doesn't matter. Whether my hair is done, whether it's not done, whether I look like a rhinoceros or a Barbie. None of that is actually what I'm here to experience at all. I'm here to experience awareness, existence, and what is around me. It's not about the body. that I'm in. Body is just a conduit. So whether
I do get that. I think that for me right now, if I had to pinpoint the moment that I kind of have the struggle, it's like literally the moment that I'm, that I get up from the couch and like walk and just like feel like my back's about to give out, or like where I'm like, and I'll hit.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be the physical. It'll be the physicality of this. And all through the day, all through, like that. I'll just notice it as I'm like trying to, getting around, and much of the time, I will be, this is no problem. Like, who fucking cares? This is, but you have no choice. This is what's happening. Accept it. It's not, what you read. This is easier than the hell.
This sounds like you're convincing yourself.
I know. I don't know what else to do. Like throughout the day, I have a lot of moments of acceptance, and it's not bothering. It's just that it's like somebody tapping me on the head all day. And
you're convincing yourself. That's not acceptance when it takes convincing. So the truth is, if you were to admit it, this is not okay with you. You're victimized by this. You're upset about it. This is catastrophic. You've catastrophized this. It is so bad to you. It's challenging. Okay.
I'm getting better with it, honestly. Like I'm getting better with it. Like
you're getting better at convincing yourself.
I'm feeling, it's not like I think about it all day. I'm just saying there's a moment where it's like that happens and I go, and it'll jolt me, and I'll just go, wow, this sucks.
This sucks.
Yeah.
So, okay, that right there.
And then I'll be like, this is my work. Right here is this exact moment is my work. This is where my work
so
is
the goal is that when you think it sucks, that means you're still holding the body to something better than it is. Okay? So what you have to get rid of is what you get out of a body that's better than this. Okay? It's not even about giving up the pain, right? It's getting rid of what you think you'll get out. What do you think you're going to get out of not having that pain? What do you think you're going to get? What do you think it does?
Just more freedom, more physical freedom, and that's why, I'm like, okay.
So what does that physical freedom going to get you? What does that physical freedom represent? Because I want to go deeper, because there is symbolism and attachments here. You're getting the imagery. You're getting that it means more physical freedom. What do you think you're going to get out of having more physical freedom? Why do you need physical freedom? What is it going to get you? What is that? What do you get out of that? Why do you need it?
Well, I guess I won't have like a physical reminder of my feelings.
Okay, so that you're trying to get rid of shame.
Probably.
It's the getting rid of shame. Where does the shame stem from? Because in order for you to feel bad or to feel like you're a failure, you have to be holding yourself to a standard that you think is where freedom exists. Right? So there's shame attached to your body. There's shame attached to the physicality, to the loss.
I did this, I was just so crazy. I just fucking did this to myself.
You didn't know what you were doing. You didn't know what you were doing. You actually thought that this would work out. It didn't.
No, even just the last few months, it's like the last 4 months since I've supposedly, I have been working so hard on this, and it's like, that I still, like, I did know what I was doing. I still managed to put on, like, 20 pounds of, the last 6 months. It's like,
yeah.
Why?
Well, because you're still holding on to, you're not recognizing that when you hold on to the desire to be thinner, it causes chaos with your relationship with food. You didn't see that. You didn't see that. I could have told you a bazillion times, but some people need to experience it, and then to experience it get bad before they step outside and go, oh.
Yeah.
Oh. It takes something like this, right? You're holding yourself to again, some level, but yet you're not willing to tell the truth about where you're actually at. And there's consequences. I know you don't like that word, but that's not a judgment or a punishment, but that's science equals.
Yeah.
It equals.
Yeah.
Punishment comes from a perspective of shame. Okay. And that makes sense why you would interpret it that way. You should be ashamed of yourself. That would make sense that you would think that. Because that's how you feel. You feel ashamed of yourself. When are you allowed to just be? So I'm just
sorry. I just want, I'm just sorry. I'm just sorry, body. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did the best you could. You had no clue. And you know what? Your body can clearly handle it. You're still alive. Okay? You're healthy. You just got a bill of health from a doctor. It's doing fine. There's no reason for you to apologize. The beauty of this is the body has evolved over millennia, and it clearly has evolved to understand how to deal with this. Okay?
Yeah.
It doesn't need you to apologize. You actually haven't done anything intentionally wrong. You've actually just promoted environments that promote this outcome.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is the promoted environment is sold to you by the diet industry. And so you just naively believed what you were told. So this is really quite innocent.
Yeah.
So forgivable. So to be ashamed of this is like saying, I should have known better, Robin. Really? Get off of the fucking pedestal.
Yeah.
I should have known better too. What would that have done? It's like saying, I won't admit that I'm wrong. Just admit that you didn't know what you were doing. Just admit it. Is there something wrong with that? Honestly, is there something wrong with making mistakes and not really knowing what you're doing? Is there something wrong with that?
No.
No, I know you're just saying that, but you gotta feel it. Be like, honestly.
No, there are times I do,
You do what?
That I do feel that. I don't feel ashamed of it, I had, it was pretty major, this 80th birthday party, friends, I hadn't seen, and people coming from all around. There's a day where I would have been mortified at my size, and it didn't even cross my mind. And it was awesome. I was, and then it only it's I was around all my friends that were,
so you're
talking about their problem, don't let me check it. Okay. I look so gross. And
can I pause you for a second? Because I think I understand. I get what you're trying to explain to me. So I'm just going to be like, all right, for the sake of time.
Okay.
I think what you're doing is you're giving it grace. You are. And that's why you are actually experiencing some freedom and release. But in the back of your mind, I'm going to lose this weight. So you have it on pause. I would actually put a whole lot of money on that if I had money to gamble. If I were taking an exam, okay, just saying, if this was like an exam and they're like, what's going on here? She is giving herself grace. She's actually trying to implement everything that we're working on. Her integrity is heartfelt. And it is wholehearted. However, she's doing it because she believes at some point she will lose weight, which means everything is on pause. So she is getting temporary relief, but it is temporary. And the underlying angst and rejection of the current body still exists. So you're willing to put it out there only because you think in the back of your mind, somewhere in the back of your mind, you actually believe you're going to let them see this body because at some point you're going to come out of the closet as that thinner self going, I love myself. Let me tell you how I got enlightened. That would be my guess.
I would say that's not totally true.
So like a B? Do I get a B? Maybe a C?
A B minus.
Okay. I'll take it.
The underlying shame and angst is definitely not gone. And I'm definitely much, accepting more every day, more than I was 2 weeks ago before our last session. Like since our last session.
Can I ask a question about that real quick?
Yeah.
Are you accepting? Does that mean your expectations for losing weight are becoming more and more realistic?
Yes.
Okay.
Diminishing.
Meaning that I'm no longer going to be 200 pounds. I'm no longer going to be 210 pounds. So you're increasing the weight at which you are feeling is acceptable and within reach.
I'm accepting that I'm stuck at this. Stuck's not a good word.
No, I mean everything you're saying is indicative that you want 30.
I'm at this weight, and that it could even go up, and and then
okay. Are you accepting that?
Accept it, or it definitely will go up.
Well, for sure, guaranteed, because that's what's happening. So really quick, I want to ask if because I feel like I'm connecting, and I need to really connect with you. I don't want to get taken off on a tangent. Okay. Do you feel that you're okay with that right now? Because you believe at some point the body will heal itself and you won't have to be in that place.
That's what I'm working on. I mean, I would say 100% yes. The last time we talked, absolutely.
Okay. Are you still...
Yes.
Okay, so what you might have done since then is you're being more realistic about the expectations around what you hope for. Okay? You still hope for 30 pounds less. Like you said, if you asked me that you could be 30 pounds less, I take it. Right? That tells me a lot, because that still means you're still fantasizing and believe that's possible and you hope for it. So that tells me you're not actually accepting anything. You're putting on pause. I got an A+. You just didn't know how to discern that.
No, I don't think you do.
Oh, what?
I mean...
You're... okay, so if I were to say this...
I'm fully admitting that I'm obviously not fully recovered. I know I'm not recovered.
So you haven't fully accepted it.
Accepted that I will never... I haven't fully accepted that I'm never losing weight, but I am definitely living with... That's the serious probability that is the situation, and it's
okay. So pause. Pause. You just said those are two conflicting things, what you just said. They conflict with each other. They don't work together. So
I haven't accepted it.
No, I know. See, that's why you won't give me an A+. You don't want to admit it. So give me a goddamn A+.
An A+ sounds like that I'm just fully still over here, and I like 2 weeks ago, I was a little bit like wild-eyed, like, ooh, maybe I can make this recovery my diet. Like that got beat out of me, beaten out of me. and so that's like...
Hey, I haven't quit you yet. I've actually quit other people and been like, this ain't gonna work. Mm-mm.
Oh, God.
So I just want you to know.
Please don't quit me, baby.
I'm not. I'm not, but you have to be willing to admit it. It hurts. It's not comfortable. It is not comfortable what I am suggesting.
Well, I guess I'm just standing by my truth, which is that I am making great fucking progress.
Oh, of course.
I'm working hard, and I'm making great progress. That is my truth. And I know that I can taste it. I can taste that I'm accepting that I'm going to be at this weight forever, and there's no possibility of losing weight, that it's permanent. I can taste the truth in it. It's just hard to take it all in one big bite. I'm taking nibbles of it to accept it.
Yeah, that means you suffer longer, just so you know.
I don't know how does the snap come? Like,
well, just keep on taking nibbles, because that's the way you want to do it. To me, that's acceptable.
I don't know how else. I'm like literally going every single day. I'm in group. I feel like I'm in group therapy. I'm in sessions every day. I pray to God every day. I set my intention every day.
Okay, so what I think you're not doing is fully facing it. I know you think you are, but there's that side of you that wants to deny it, and you have to go into complete and total truth. That is going to be one of the most painful things you'll ever experience.
I mean, I'm experiencing it, and I have flashes of experiencing it, and it is agony.
Yeah, and you do escape it. There is an escape route you're still taking. Okay? So how do I let me sit with this for just a minute. Let me just sit with this and connect so I can really give you some directive that might actually be helpful. Okay, instead of you're fucking lying to yourself. Okay.
Okay. That did help.
Yeah, well now we need to get into what the hell am I going to do? You're aware you are still holding on, okay? You are still holding on to hope. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Okay, that's what's keeping you stuck. So let's go there together. So what happens if you become aware that hope is fucking crazy? It's like you're lying to yourself. It's kind of like the hope that a battered wife has that the marriage will work.
Yeah.
That he'll change. There's a moment that she realizes this is never going to change, no matter what. So either I accept what I'm living in, which is hell, right? Dark hell. Or I go into the extreme, excruciating pain of getting out and being alone and facing what I'm afraid of, right? You're in a space where you're like, I just think there's hope. I just think. Because I believe. And shouldn't I care about my marriage? Is there no sanctity anymore with marriage? You know, I'm using that as a parallel, but there is a, if you hold on to that hope, what you're holding on to is what you get out of the thinnerness. And it has to be surrendered. Honey, I've had clients who are over 400 pounds. I have a lot of compassion for what happens to the body with this process. I do. However, I have more compassion for how fucked up the mental state of mind is. And if it means a physical ailment, why wouldn't you take it? I mean, the mental and emotional aspect of this, have you ever quantified how bad it is? Have you ever really quantified it? Ever? Quantify it. Which one's worse? Be truthful with yourself. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. Be truthful. Take your current physical body. In truth, not in, catastrophizing it. Okay? And I want you to compare it to the emotional and spiritual and mental illness of it. Just what it takes and what you live through. Right? Which one's worse?
All of that shit in the past.
It's bad. I just...
And I think there's days where I'll just go, wow, it was pretty bad. Like, this is pretty bad.
Yeah, like, it's hard to even tell someone, like, if we had to tell a mental health person about, like, how bad is it to have an eating disorder and an obsession, like narcissistic obsession with being thinner, it's bad. Like, suicidal bad. I mean, if we were truthful about it. Not even just blowing it out of proportion. To me, I'm not catastrophizing that. That's actually the reality of it. It's bad. It takes over everything. It takes over everything. You have nothing. You have no soul. You have no life. You have nothing. You have all of this ingrained you're like sketchy, And you don't have something like, like meth to blame. That's the other thing. You have nothing like meth or something crazy to go, that's why. Be easier, don't you agree, if we just had a meth addiction? Way easier.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they have the same underlying issues that you're dealing with. So eventually you'd have to deal with this insecurity anyways. But it makes it harder to have something that's not questionable, like thinner supremacy. No one questions that. Why wouldn't you want to take meth thinness? We should just call it meth thinness. You know? So when you really, really think about it, which is actually worse? Like if you could take this or that, and I know I told you what I know you've heard, whether I've told you or you heard in a YouTube video, I literally thought I was accepting 500 pounds. Because that to me is how equal physically disabling, that 500 pounds would be equally physically disabling as I was psychologically disabled or spiritually disabled. So to me, though, a physical disability, even if it was completely paralyzing, still gave me the freedom of my mind. Even if I couldn't walk, couldn't move, completely was reliant on other people to care for me, clean me, all that, that it was still better because I could at least open my soul and consciousness to experience reality. Where I was in the thin, just trying to manage being thin and my fear of being fat, it was like complete and total soulless life. I had nothing. There was no existence except for what I had to do to be thin, right? Even though you weren't anorexic, you had anorexia in the nature of what your shame stems from, right?
Yeah.
So you add to the fact that you've had living in severe and significant amounts of shame and the excuses you've had to make, the work to try to convince people that this isn't your body, right? So add to that the manipulation and the constant excusing and I'll fix it when, and then how that impacts your relationship, food in the present moment. That is what creates the consequence of the physicality that you're in, right? Same thing manifesting in a different kind of promoted environment, right? So when you really look at it, the physical body you're in, if it is permanent, and let's just go up. Let's go up to 300 pounds, okay?
Okay.
Is that physically in the limits and the pain and the that you experience physically? Is that as bad as the psychological pain and in what you experienced with the obsessive compulsive desire and shame to wanting to be thin?
It's not.
Are you just saying that?
No, it's I feel it. It's not, and I think I was listening to another session with us, and you were telling me to just feel the freedom, and I think I need to remember what I'm doing this for, that there is that freedom there.
Mm-hmm. It is the freedom that if you don't care. The freedom comes when you don't care. So the question is, how do we get you to not care? Right? You let go of what you were getting out of the thinness. You reject it. That's the key. I remember for me, it was people thinking I was special. They promoted me. I was promoted in people's opinion. I was seen at as special. Oh my God, look at her. Look at that body. How do you do it? Like, I felt like there was one thing in my life that I was good at. That wasn't bad, right? One thing. And so for me to surrender it, I had to say, I don't want people to promote me for that. I don't want promotion. I don't want people to I don't want it. I'd rather be huge and no one know who I am. Not because I'm in apathy, feeling sorry, but because I want freedom to be what I really am. I just want to be like me. Whatever that is, because I didn't know what that was either. But it was just like, I just want to live. Why can't I just live? Why do I got to be fixated on whether my body's good or not? And I had to be also okay with not just surrendering what I got out of the body image, but not taking serious the opinions of people who didn't like it, right? The willingness to go through the embarrassment of being exposed as a fraud.
Yeah.
that aspect of it. I wonder if that's what's giving you the hope right there, because you might not want to face that. For a lot of people, that is the last step, is the willingness to be seen as a fraud. Because it is fraudulent.
Because all the other stuff you were saying, I was like, no, I don't want to be promoted either. No, I was promoted.
Yep, you've checked those boxes.
Like, I was like, no, I don't want that. No, it's like, no. And I, let go with that more even in the last few days. And and when you got to the part of being exposed as a fraud, it definitely was sort of like just that feeling of being exposed, as a fraud, meaning still I have no control over this.
Correct.
I've lost all control. I'm not cool. I've lost all control. I can't do it.
Yeah,
I'm fat. I failed. I can't do it. I'm not that cool, breezy chick. I'm this. Yeah, this is me, everybody. This is.
Yeah.
I want every single person to see it and every single person to know. I guess there's still a little bit of a flinch.
Okay, and that's, I think, where okay, that would make sense. This is kind of one of the last things people go through, is the willingness to be seen as a fraud, to come out of the closet. Like, it was all fake anyways. And to admit that it was fraudulent. Which is funny, because no one really noticed anyways. They didn't know. It was just to you that you were lying to. Like, you're lying to yourself and denying it to yourself. It's you that you're coming out of the closet to.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And then we project it out as if it's other people that care. That's how our brains work, right? Because we're animals. It's other people that will will know we're frauds. Well, why don't you just cut? This is when I said to you, tell yourself the truth. Tell yourself the truth. You're the one that has to come out of the closet to yourself and realize, I'm not that. I've been trying to change. I've been creating a concept of me, and I thought it was real, when the whole time it was fake. I was faking myself. I wasn't even. What if that's not who I am? And should I feel bad about that? Should you feel bad? Should you feel bad? If it is, in fact, was a lie to you and to everybody else, should you feel bad about that?
No.
Why?
Why shouldn't I feel bad? Because I was just trying to fit in and to be accepted, and like there wasn't any sinister intention behind it.
Totally innocent. And you didn't really know consciously that it was fake. It was made up. It was ego, right? It was an idea of Chrissy. You didn't realize that you had abandoned the truth of who you really are. You didn't know that. You didn't know that.
Just that wasn't good enough.
Yeah. So you have to question if you're willing to bring out what's not good enough, so that people will know you're not good enough. Notice the wording I'm using. Notice how I'm not trying to convince you it's good enough. Nope. It's not good enough. Are you willing to bring not good enough out? And should you feel bad about not good enough?
No, I shouldn't feel bad.
Go into what that is. Like, what's not good enough? Let's go into what isn't good enough. What is it?
Just my efforts. My efforts aren't good.
Well, you've done the best you could with everything. Even up into this point in the work we're doing. You've done the best you could with what you're aware of.
Yeah.
It's when you become aware of something that you're like, oh shit. And then things change, right? You can't really change things and change what you're doing until you become aware of what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So you've done an A+ job. Everything you've done is A+. Everything, up into the binging. Even the binging, even the everything. You did the best you could with what you were aware of and what you were taught. And what you believed in.
Yeah.
So where's the ownership of the consequences of the beliefs that have nothing to do with you? It's just you held on to the beliefs, and people who hold on to those beliefs, this is what happens to them. It's very impersonal, actually. You can look at your weight and say it's actually very impersonal to who I really am. It's actually more personal to the belief system I believed in. The binging, the hyper extreme dieting, that's the belief system. That's that.
Yeah.
So the body is a reflection of the belief system, not really you. So you can forgive the body, one, and you need to when I say forgive the belief system, that means reject it and say, yeah, I'm not going to feel bad about that. The badness is within the religion of food and body image and dieting. The shame comes when it's within the system. You wouldn't feel bad about this if you didn't believe the system of being thinner makes you a better person. Right? Is the body you're in really a sin? Is it really, really worthy of shame? No, only if you believe you're supposed to be thin. And you don't add in the context of how this happened and what went into this, right?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah.
Again, should I feel ashamed for having premarital sex? Well, it was more than just putting a penis in a vagina. Why are we looking at it like that? Because that's what I was taught.
Yeah.
Right? So when I added reality to it, that was not worth shame. The belief is shameful. Not me. If I hold on to the belief, I hold on to shame too.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing.
Okay, so when you hold on, and this is what I connected not just with my religious indoctrination, but the body image indoctrination, is being morbidly obese. If that's the truth of the body, when I let go of this insane anorexic behavior, is that really worthy of shame? Knowing that I am doing that instead of suicide.
No.
To me, it was the most beautiful gift I could give the body, is to be alive as a morbidly obese body. If that's what it is. It didn't deserve to get a bullet blowing its brains out. It didn't deserve that. It didn't do anything wrong. Right? Your body hasn't done anything wrong. It's done what it was made to do. Under the promoted environment it was put in. Starving, dieting, overeating, binging. Starving, dieting, overeating, binging. What do you think it's going to do?
Yeah.
You know, it did exactly what it was supposed to do. Is that really worthy of shame? And did you not try enough? Did you not want it enough?
No.
Are you following me right now, or are you just...
No, I am. I feel kind of excited. I feel a little excitement inside by what you're saying, because it feels true, and it feels, I don't know, I feel hopeful.
Okay, so if people see this body, are you okay if they make up whatever they want to about it?
Yes, I am.
How are you going to be able to explain to them the mental illness that you've lived with around body image for decades? And how can you, do you need them to know about that for you to be okay?
No, I don't.
Right, because that would be like, I got to make sure they know so they can approve of me.
Yeah.
Give me permission.
Yeah.
Well, when, I think for me, I had that thought too. And I realized it's impossible for me to actually explain the depth of how horrible and the horror story and the nightmare I was living in. It's like, and why would I need to explain that to people when it's really the life I'm living and I'm the one that's making a choice for this life? Do I need them? Do I really need someone else's opinion about what I'm doing to defend the life that this body's giving me?
No.
Because I'm the only one experiencing this life. I'm the only one. Nobody else is aware of what I'm aware of. No one else is experiencing this awareness that feels like me experiencing something, right? Everybody else has their own experience of what they are experiencing within themselves. My mom doesn't know what I'm experiencing. My dog doesn't know. My husband doesn't know. My kids don't know. I don't know what they're experiencing and how they're interpreting things. How am I supposed to know what they need to hear? The moment they need to hear it, to the depth that they need to hear it, right? When it comes to me in the body I'm in, how does someone else know what's my favorite color? Why would I listen to their opinion over my own truth? The truth,
yeah,
right?
I can see how I'm feeling how important a piece it is too that have accepted the truth about my past. How that has really held me back, connecting with, oh, but I was this. To look at the truth of that and of the actual suffering that was happening is a huge step in accepting my current situation too.
Mm-hmm.
That was just letting go of all of that and all of the people, how I think they saw me, or how I took pride in thinking they saw me, and like.
Yeah, and all you really were seeking was to be loved. You just weren't using the truth to be loved.
Yeah.
You were using an idea of what you thought they liked to be loved. And you know what you do when you do that is you give up your free will. You're now their free will. You give up your life to be their life for them to like you, You give up your true nature and your true life expression to express what they like, so that they like their life and thinking that you'll get something out of it. And you end up just hating your life.
And so I'm actually not losing, to accept this current situation and to not be ashamed. I can just, there's no shame. I can just let it all go. I'm not.
It's understandable. You can see why this.
Understandable.
Why this happened, and it's forgivable. All of it's forgivable. All of it. Someone else who thinks that it's unforgivable, they got karma coming, don't they?
And there's really nothing to grieve. I just poor me. I can't live my shitty ass life anymore.
Exactly. Now you're seeing it I get freedom now to be truthful with who I am now. So it is like a new life. It's like a new leaf. It's like reincarnating. It's like being a kid again. I get to start over where I was when I was 4. Who am I? What do I want? What brings me joy? And I do exist. I have an existence. I have an awareness. I am experiencing. I have a sense of me experiencing this life and witnessing this life. What do I want with my life that is best from within me? Not best for what culture tells me, a religion tells me, a system tells me, how many glasses of water should I fucking drink? Should I be, does that really matter?
No.
It's here nor there. So drink 4 cups or not. Who cares? Right? You start to live from the heart rather than a concept in the mind. So what that means is that the concept in the mind that you have about a body, do you really need to tell the body it's not good enough right now? Because if you do, what happens to this living from the heart?
Goes away.
Well, it's paused until the body matches what you think it needs to be, and then you got to keep the body there. So do you ever really get to live from the heart? No. So if you can adapt to this body unconditionally, meaning I can handle it.
I can handle it being exposed and the whole world knowing.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't you rather do that sooner than later? Because once it's exposed, the next time you see people, what's it going to feel like? You know, once you expose it the first time, it's like coming out of the closet gay. Once people know you're gay, what's it like the next time you see them? It's not your problem.
Yeah.
It's similar. Yeah, they know. Now they know. It's not like I'm like, oh, I'm not gay anymore. You don't have to go backward. You know, once you just come out and there's no excuses and there's no justifications other than you know within you that this was the right thing for your life. They want to diet, that's what they should do. They should try to think that their body's going to be better some other way. That's what they should do. Go for it. But you know what? Wouldn't you rather focus on living?
Yeah. I would. It's just stupid to just be like, I can really see how exposure is really...
Your last point.
Yeah.
So let's go through it really quick and then I'm going to go. So I want you to imagine you're in a room and you're buck-ass naked.
And I'm what? I'm buck-ass naked?
You got it. You are buck-ass naked, okay? I want you to and you're about to invite in your mother, your sisters, your business partners, the whole state of California.
Damn.
Texas. All the religious zealots, okay? All the age people who have ageism, who think you're too old now.
All the ex-boyfriends
and
current men who tell me that I'm pretty and that, all the current men that think I'm sexy.
Yeah, everybody. Your church, your pastors, your previous everything, your high school, your class reunions, everybody. And we're going to say, look, here's the truth.
The line forms here. Come over here. Get a look at this.
And you're to say nothing. This would be a great piece of art, by the way. A live art done. For someone to go into and allow people to make whatever comment they're going to make whatever beliefs they're going to make, and to allow it to happen. Without... It's like you're going to be on your own little cross there, dearie. Knowing that no one really knows truly what you've suffered through, and that's okay. They don't need to know. You're the one who's making this decision because you're the one that knows. And no one should suffer like that. Nobody. No one deserves to suffer, especially for something as dumb as body fat. So if someone thinks that you are a piece of shit because you have body fat,
it feels kind of good, just getting it, ripping the Band-Aid off.
Right? So
just
lay off.
Slowly circling and letting them get every angle.
And you're going to hear, oh, we knew it. We knew Chrissy was a piece of shit. We knew she was a pathetic loser this whole time. She couldn't handle it.
How did she let herself get like this? She used to look better than that.
Right? And I didn't want her anyways. I'm out of here. And they leave, right? Because they're going to...
She's not sexy after all.
Yeah.
Gross.
We knew she was a failure. She's such a loser. She can't handle her shit. She's lazy. And you're hearing it, and you're just standing there letting it happen, right? And clearly there's fear, your body's shaking, but you're not going to say a word, you're not going to excuse it, and you're not going to do anything about it, okay? So obviously the people who are like, we knew she was inferior, she is so not cool, okay?
Oh my God, and the men might not want to have sex with me.
Now, what happens for them? They have that immediate judgment and shame of you, and then what? What happens for them? Do they go on and think about you every day for the rest of their life, about how shitty you are for the rest of their life? Do you remember Chrissy? Oh my God, I'm still thinking about her. She's such a piece of shit.
No, they just go find someone else to fuck.
Correct. Exactly. They move on. They're done with you. Poof, you're gone. And then there's people who are going, why is this a big deal? What the fuck? I don't care. Come on, Chrissy. I'm out. I don't care. You need to get over yourself. Okay? And then they're like, okay, what you doing afterwards? You want to go somewhere? Okay? So there's people who reject you. There's people who think less of you. And there's some people who are like, why the fuck does this matter? Okay? So in the end, the cards are going to fall. And guess what you get when it's exposed? What do you get?
Release. Yeah. Freedom.
Totally. Now you're free to be real, right? Do you need to find a different persona to make up for it, or should you just stay real? Just be truthful now forever. Once you've told the hardest truth you've ever told, and you face the vulnerability, and you face the rejection, and you face the raw exposure of it, you're released from holding on to it. Do you really need to go on a diet to make sure the next time they see you that you're thinner, or should you just let it go?
Just let it go.
Yeah, because the next time they see you, they're not going to be surprised. People who thought shitty of you are still going to think shitty of you. So do you care as much the next time they see you?
No.
No. So then what? What happens the third time you see these people? And you're like, hi! And they're like, oh, hi, there's the fat girl. So they go on with their shitty ass way, and you're free. You don't have to do shit. You don't have to worry about it. You can focus on the truth of who you are. You don't have to be fake anymore and pretentious. You don't have to be the alternative self. You can just be the truth of who you are, because you're not afraid to be exposed and to be rejected and abandoned. You're over that. Wouldn't you rather just live in the truth and live in the vulnerable freedom than to be a slave to accommodating someone else's pleasure for the moment they see you? They get the pleasure, you don't. You just live in total, complete slavery, trying to fix yourself for the moment they see you. You go back to your hellhole, trying to make sure you stay that way so they know it's the truth, even though it's a total scam. You've been a scam artist.
Yeah.
So when you come out with the real Chrissy, what happens to needing to scam people?
It goes away.
Yeah. You know what else goes away? All the work.
Just the worry.
Oh, all of it. And when the worry transfers into work.
Yeah.
Right. I got to make sure they do this. I got to make sure that. I got to make sure. No, you don't have to make sure anything anymore. There's no lies that you have to make sure are held in truth. You don't have to lie to yourself, and you don't have to lie to others anymore. You can just be the truth.
Or worry and then worry more that I'm not going to do anything about it. It's just like, fuck it all.
Yeah, well, because none of it's true anyways. It's like, why am I holding myself to a false idea of myself? So that someone else can have the pleasure of thinking, because they get the thoughts and the thinkingness of, wow, she's cool. They feel coolness. You don't.
Yeah.
You just feel vulnerable and fearful of rejection and abandonment and desperate. Do you like me? Do you like me? Do you like me? That's how I was. I was probably the most annoying kid on the planet. Just be truthful. Be okay with rejection. I mean, I put on these pink glasses, okay?
I can't wait to see it.
Who cares?
That feels good. That feels... Yeah.
You need to meditate in it. You need to go through that in your head and really sink it in and be like, if that's all I've been afraid to do this whole time, and that's why why my recovery is on pause, literally sitting in pause, even though it is a benefit. You do get benefit from that. There's still that edginess to it. It just sucks. So that's all you need to do. You need to come out of the closet and just, it's all in your head. Because I hate to break it to you, everybody that sees you sees your body.
Yeah.
And most people don't care. And the people that do care, do you really want to be a slave for them?
No.
No. It's not their life. You could see if it was that you would need to honor that, but it's not. It's yours. Nobody should suffer like that for anybody's approval. Anybody who requires another human to suffer like that is special. Right? I required you suffer. And to do that for me to approve of you, now we're talking serious narcissism, right? Just think of that for a second. Should anybody suffer and do what doesn't work for them, and to compromise what's right for them just so someone else can be happy with them? This is a great example of like your niece or your nephew. Should he have to suffer or compromise the truth of his life so your mom could be happy? Of course not. No, of course not. No.
Should he have some raging bitch aunt trying to make him?
Of course not. And you had the discernment to know, you know what, that's not okay. He should do what's right for him. Well, what about you?
Oh, like I should do what's right for me too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. Is losing weight or being thinner really what's right for you?
Is losing weight or being thinner what's right for me? No, it's not.
Was that you just saying an answer, or do you really feel like that's been the worst thing for me?
That's like got me into this position.
Yeah, it did. It's been terrible. It's been actually a horror story. If people really understood what this has done to you, they would want you to be the size you are right now, and even bigger if that's what it meant. Just so you can be free from this torment. So you got to kind of have, if you can't do that for yourself, you got to do that for yourself. So if it means you are free permanently from having to fix this, worry about it, focus on it, can you be happy with where you're at? Can you be happy with this body? Can you handle it?
Yeah.
Right? There's so many different physicalities that you potentially could be worse that might happen to you, like a car wreck. You know, there's so much worse that could happen. Could you adapt to that?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying we have to want those things. I'm saying if something worse happens, could you adapt to it? If you're still alive after the fact. Yeah. Yeah, of course you would. Of course you would. Right? So adapt to this. What if this is the hardest? What if this is the worst? Right here.
I guess I have it pretty easy.
Right? Well, it's not that big of a deal. This really isn't that big of a deal. Because I can handle it, right? You can work around it. You still have infinite potential in this lifetime with this body as it is and its ailments. Infinite. You could write a book. You do so much. There's so much creativity that this body's providing you. You're not even the source of that shit. It just shows up. That's the funny thing. Is even your awareness isn't yours. You're not even creating it. It just comes to you. You can't even claim ownership. I can't claim ownership of anything I'm saying to you. It is occurring spontaneously. It comes to my mind, I say it. You're just saying shit and it's funny, and whatever it is that's giving you the information, they're funny up there, whatever.
And just the fact that I'm mobile and can walk around on these two legs.
Right, luxury.
Amazing.
It really is. It's a luxury.
I get up and go to the bathroom. Yeah, I have to lower, I have to here, heave ho, but so what? I can do it.
Yeah, I know, right? So it's really a matter of choice that you adapt to it and say, okay, yeah, I can make that doable. It's doable. That's how I feel about my back. Sciatica, bulging disc, herniated disc, osteoarthritis. I can manage that. I've also been able to go into my head into a far worse situation and go, okay, I can manage that. I can manage going blind. In fact, when I think about going blind, it opens up a whole nother world of awareness. Like infinite. There's an infinity, actually, of ways to experience this consciousness and this existence. Why do I have to be in a perfect body to experience it? That means that I'll never experience it. So the moment I'm okay with the vulnerability of any body and the fact that all bodies are going to die, and there's all sorts of physical realities out there that are potential in one lifetime, as soon as I accept that, I'm free to just experience life. I don't have to fixate on my body anymore. I don't have to manage it. I don't have to control it. I can just assume millennia of evolution and the God that created that and the universe is good enough for me to rely on. And thank goodness we have access to health care and other things that I can rely on too. But when it comes down to me dying, I'm okay dying. I don't need to be obsessing my whole life on chemtrails. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a big topic here in Boise. Chemtrails, oh my God. Yeah, so.
Is that a diet?
No, it's the chemical trails that come from the jets that are above us that look like they're...
Oh.
I know all the funny theories about it, and even if it's true, I can't do anything about it. So when I die, I die. So I'm not going to waste my consciousness fixating on how to prevent dying when I focus on living my life and enjoying the beauty of life around me, as long as I have to be here.
Yeah.
I'm present. I am literally aware of life as I'm existing in it, and that to me is why, I guess, because I'm there and I know that exists. It would be like getting brain damage to go backwards, Why would you go back into fixation on something other than life? When you're alive and you're existing and you're allowing it to exist and you're witnessing everything, it's like, why would you go back into trying to control everything? We can control some things, like I bought these pink glasses because I thought they were cute. I made that happen, right? But in the end, it's just they appeared and I got them for whatever reason. There's that, and then there's reality that hits, like my mom died of cancer. Okay. Right? So there's things that are occurring in our lives that we have absolutely no power to control and that are occurring without any apparent reason. And then there's things we reason and create in our lives. We can blend it all. We have free will. There's a reason why. But why put your whole life any further on hold so that you can lose weight first? If you can't adapt to this situation, you've got to at least experience what that adaptation is. So if something else happens, you can adapt to it.
Yeah.
Right? So what it takes to adapt to this body is exactly what it would take to adapt to a different body with a different circumstance, or a different circumstance with this body, to adapt to something else different, better, less than. You just adapt and you make it not important. So it's always background noise. It's just background information. It's not the center of everything. Isn't that what you want to remove? Is your weight being the center of everything? Yeah. So what you do is you stop caring about it. It goes back. And then all of a sudden, what happens when it is no longer something that has to be thought about, looked at, or changed? What happens?
Then my mind is free to just live, just find out what I like and what I want to do, and what do I think about, what do I care about.
You got it. And maybe even feels like vulnerable, like open. Like
what?
It might even feel vulnerable and open. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Well, how do you navigate moving forward?
How do I move forward?
Mm-hmm.
I have my inner guide. I'll just move forward. The sun comes up and you just move forward.
You hit the nail on the head. No, you're right. It's like I have intuition or I have that integrity. Again, it's that awareness that comes to you that you don't know how it's there. It just spontaneously exists, and it's really a loving feeling. So you can rely on the lovingness that's spontaneously there that you have nothing to do with.
Mm-hmm.
And if it feels right to that, go for it. If it doesn't, don't. It's that inner feeling that you're only aware of, and you're the only one that can make decisions from that. If it's right for you, it'll feel right. Can you hear me?
I stopped hearing you for a second.
Yeah, it feels like it's an inner feeling that you're only experiencing, and who knows where it comes from. It's kind of like spontaneous lovingness, but whatever connects with that, that's how you make decisions. It's like listening to the inner soul that is there.
Yeah.
Do we really need to have a definition of what that is so that you can separate yourself from others, or can you just acknowledge that we all have that, and some are using it and others aren't?
Yeah.
So do you feel like you're a rotten apple, or do you feel like that inner soul, that inner child in there, that inner sense of beingness, the lovingness is good enough?
I don't feel like a rotten apple.
I know, I didn't either.
I think it's good enough. I feel very hopeful. I feel like I can do this. I'm doing it. That's the bottom line. I am doing it. And
if I had a contract right now in front of you that said, I, will forever accept this body without conditions as long as it's conscious, I will take care of it. It's good enough for me.
I would totally sign. Like, I literally have a pen in my hands.
And then what happens?
Then I would just go party.
Okay.
Big party.
Sounds fun to me.
It's like, woo!
What do you want to do? I don't have to do shit. Okay. Well, what would you like to do? I want a taco. Okay, go eat a fucking taco.
Just want to go lay on the grass and look up at the sky.
Ooh, that sounds like a good idea. Okay, so let's end this 2-hour call and do that.
Okay.
Sound like a good idea?
Yes.